Hello, my name's Bob Willis and welcome to Defect of the Month. Every month I look at a process defect or a part of the process and highlight some of the issues associated with those defects and possibly, well hopefully, to overcome them for you. Now I'd like to talk about temperature profiling but mounting thermocouples. Now if you're interested, I have a set of posters which cover this particular aspect, which are free and they make great training aids, or they're useful for covering up the dirty marks on your office wall. But if you'd like a copy of them to print out, then I'm more than happy to provide them. All you need to do is drop us an email and request a copy and we'll send them to you. Now, mounting thermocouples on a printed circuit board, first of all, you need a board. So you really need a board, which is the board you're going to be processing. Now, normally speaking, it's fairly easy to get an example printed circuit board. There are always scrap boards produced by the PCB manufacturer, so any of your customers should be able to get one of those. It's going to be the same metal content, it's going to be the same size, dimension, and all of the other characteristics are going to be pretty much the same. But just because it's got some etching faults or issues, then that doesn't really matter. Next thing is you obviously want some components. Well, I would suggest that if you go into your own rework area, you'll always find examples of components which have the same leg configuration, mass, so you've got something you can solder to the board to then do temperature profiles via. So I think that's fairly straightforward. So it's in your hands, you can do that. But you must make sure your sales engineers insist that the customer provides the right information so you can do a professional job when you're doing your temperature profiling. So there are lots of great temperature profiling equipment out there, and I'm not going to get into that conversation about what's best or what you really need. I've used most of them and I've worked with most of the suppliers, and pretty much all of them work very, very well. Some are over sophisticated where it's perhaps not necessary, but that's an opinion that I have. So we've got methods of mounting. We've got capped on tape, which I do not like, but it still is a very popular technique because it's easy. So it's high temperature, orange tape, which holds the thermocouples to the board, but does it? I would suggest not. You will normally find the thermocouple lifts underneath the capped on tape, so consequently you're not getting exactly the information you want. You can use metal tape. Some suppliers offer metal tape, which has good adhesion characteristics to the printed circuit board. It generally doesn't allow the thermocouple to lift easily from the printed circuit board. You can use adhesives. I tend to find that most adhesives, after a period of time, allow the thermocouple to lift, and they're going to lift just at the point you're coming through the last stages of your reflow process. You have to start all over again, which is really, really annoying. So I personally like to use high temperature solder. I know it's old school, I know it's got lead in it. However, it works and has successfully worked with me for many, many years. And there are independent studies which have illustrated that is the best technique. There are techniques similar to it, but still the best technique. Now you can also mount thermocouples into plated through holes. And I normally suggest still soldering them in place, but they can be mounted there and they're quite robust and less likely to come adrift or separate from the printed circuit board. The key thing is the thermocouple has to make intimate contact with the surface you're trying to measure, and the volume of what you're measuring has to be consistent with the product that you're actually going to be using. Now if you use thermocouples and for some reason you've twisted the leads, that will give you an inconsistent reading. And what I mean is that the leads, the two different dissimilar metal leads, are twisted together. Then what you're going to be reading is wherever they're making contact. So what you tend to get is a spiky result. You won't get a nice pretty graph, you'll get a nice spiky graph, which won't look very good. If you're using the point correctly, then all of the wires should be insulated right up to where the two wires are welded together, the bit to create a bead which is where you measure the thermocouple temperature on your printed circuit board. There's lots of other good information out there about temperature profiling, what you need, temperatures. I've used profilers on wave soldering, selective soldering, vapor phase, convection reflow. I've used it for setting up rework and repair stations, and of course, obviously BGA. One of the points that's covered in the poster set is how you measure temperature underneath BGAs effectively. And again, I'll show you how to do that. All you need to do is request a copy of the poster set. You can download it free, and that will give you guidelines how to successfully profile for rework and repair. My name's Bob Willis. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully one of these videos or the 100 other previous videos cover the defects that you want to hear about. And they're very useful for illustrating points to some of your colleagues or new engineers in your company. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next month for another Defect of the Month.